Welcome to lesson 2.2. In this lesson, it is all about polynomials. So last lesson we focused specifically on quadratics, which are x squared. Polynomials are the whole family. So x squared, x cubed, x to the fourth, x to the fifth, all of those. So let's start by defining what a polynomial is. A polynomial is essentially an equation where n, and if you notice up here, n is the exponent on the variable. So n is the exponent on the variable. And that exponent is a non-negative integer. Non-negative means positive or zero, and an integer means a whole number. So the exponent is positive or zero, and it's a whole number. So let's look at a couple of these examples and decide if they are polynomials or not. So in this first one, we look at our variables, and we look at the exponents on those variables. All these x's have secret ones on them, and 1 is a positive whole number. So check, this is a variable, or this is a polynomial. Now let's look at this one. Notice in this one the square root is over the x. So you may remember that we can separate square root over multiplication, and then you can actually change square root to a fraction exponent. So this x still has a secret 1 exponent. This x has a 1/2 exponent. 1/2 is not a positive whole number. So this is not a polynomial. Now let's look at this one. I can rewrite this by taking that 1/2 out in front. So I have 1/2 x squared plus 5x. That's same thing as x squared over 2. Now the exponents on the variables are a 2 and a secret 1. Those are both positive whole numbers, so check, that is a polynomial. Now let's come down here and look at D. If we look at my exponents, I have an exponent of x and of 2. Now we know the 2 checks out, that's a positive whole number. However, an exponent of an x could be a positive whole number, but I could make x a decimal, or I could make x negative. That is not necessarily always a positive whole number. So this is not a polynomial. You may remember 3 to the x is an exponential. Those are the graphs that look like that, which we'll come back more to in chapter 4. So let's look at this one. This one, that 2 is a positive whole number. However, it's in the denominator. We can bring that x squared up into the numerator. However, when you do that, it makes the exponent negative. So now that we've brought that up, we see that the exponent is negative. So that is not a positive whole number, not a polynomial. Last example. Now this one might be a little tricky for you. However, if I take this 3 and I write it as 3x to the 0, because anything to the 0 power is 1, so this would be 3 times 1 is itself. So I can do that without actually changing the equation. But now look at the exponent on the variable. Exponent is a 0, and that is why we included 0 up here in our definition. So 3x to the 0 is a polynomial. So hopefully that helps you identify what is and is not a polynomial a little bit better. Basically, in summary, square roots are not polynomials, and you cannot have them in the denominator, and you cannot have the variable in the exponent. Those are not polynomials. Most everything else is. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to find the big 4 of a polynomial.